This video is sponsored by Acuity Scheduling.
There's a cruel irony for many of us. When we are teenagers and into our 20s, we tend to have a lot of free time. Many of us take this time for granted though, and we don't use it wisely for our creative pursuits. Then as we move further into adulthood, life really takes over. Family, life, and work responsibilities compound, and before you know it, you turn around and it's been months since you've done anything creative or picked up your camera. I'm guessing that if you're like me, photography is your creative pursuit that grounds you and keeps you well, and not having time to practice this can be really frustrating and detrimental to our mental well-being. For me, becoming a parent really transformed my life, and creativity was one of the first things to go because it wasn't a necessity, it felt like a luxury. Most of the advice for busy people is make time for your creativity, but this doesn't actually give us any actionable steps towards making it happen. So in today's video, I am going to break down some strategies and a system that we can all follow to get more time in for our creativity, and I think that it is something that everyone will benefit from. Okay, so what authority do I have to be speaking on this topic? Well, I'm a mum to a just turned 4-year-old boy, as you can see. My husband and I run a business together, and part of that is this YouTube channel that you're watching, and then also commercial photography and videography. Prior to starting this YouTube channel and embarking on a creative career, we both worked in education full-time, so I know what it's like to juggle something on the side with a full-time job and a family. So we started this channel when our son was 4 months old, and this actually pulled me out of postnatal depression and a lot of problems that I was going through, but more on the power of projects and what I call closing the loop later on in the video. I know a lot of you watching are busy parents, but even if you don't have children, this system and this video is going to be super helpful. There are lots of gems in here for anyone who is just busy, juggling a lot of things and trying to fit more creativity into their lives. So stick around. Communication between you and your partner, co-parent, grandparent, employer, whoever is in your life and around you and what you're doing all the time. Conveying to your partner or whoever it is that your creative time is really important to your mental health is the first step to actually getting that time. It's very likely that your other half or person in your life is also yearning to do something other than changing nappies or just work full time. So this is a great opportunity for you to have an open conversation about how you can fit these creative pockets into your schedule collectively, monthly or weekly, whatever suits you. I will cover scheduling further on in this video. Often the first step of something can be the hardest, and I think that communicating this can be really difficult because we find it hard to advocate for our creativity because it's seen sometimes as this frivolous luxury thing when really I believe that it's a vital part of our existence and it feeds back into all of the other parts of our life. So really conveying that to your partner and then asking them what they want to do with their time other than just the basics and getting through life. It's also worth noting that you will likely see an improvement in your mood collectively as a family if everybody is getting this creative free time. If you are living in a household that feels tense and stressful at the moment, or you're just going through things, because aren't we all right now? Having a conversation with whoever's in your family unit, whoever you share responsibilities with, and saying like, hey, I think I would really benefit, or we would really benefit from doing X thing at this time, and just sticking to that as part of our routine, like we do showering, feeding ourselves, all of our other vital things. Once you start seeing the flow-on effect of all of this, it will really help you to honor that time and make sure you prioritize it. So it's worth tracking how you're feeling and how this new found creative time is making you feel. And that's something you could do collectively with your partner, assessing it at the end of the week, asking them how they're going with their projects, and getting involved with each other's things as well if you want to come together and share them. The next step of this strategy to taking back our creative lives is planning and scheduling. Something I have noticed about life is that if you don't fill your time with things that are meaningful to you, someone or something will come along and fill it for you. This is how we inevitably end up losing pockets of time that we could be giving to our creative pursuits and things that really nourish us. Think about it like this for a second. We all show up for work most of the time, and a lot of other things like birthdays, weddings, events, people needing our help, we tend to stick to those things because there's an expectation from other people, from society, and we know we have to be at certain places at certain times and fulfill these expectations. Now, imagine if we took that same approach, but we applied it to our creative pursuits. We would likely find that our creative pursuits happened a lot more often because A, they're scheduled in and what gets scheduled happens, and B, it becomes a routine like all of the other things that you're doing in your life. So how do we actually do this though? What I have found that works really well is starting with your non-negotiables. So these are things like work, school drop-off and pick-up, gym, other responsibilities. You might be caring for someone in your family, things that you must do, you have to do, grocery shopping, all of those things. Those are things that you are definitely going to do, and they kind of make the framework for your calendar. From here, we can start to get more granular and we can look at the in-between times, the slots between those things that are happening, and that is where we can take back our creative time. Simple steps like looking at your calendar as a whole and thinking, could I wake up a little bit earlier here and have half an hour to myself to work on my Substack or sequence my photos. Another example is someone who catches the train to work. You could get off a few stops earlier, either when you start or finish, and have some time to wander your neighborhood and take some photos. Could you implement this every week into your schedule or even every fortnight? That way you are picking up your camera, you are taking photos again, and you are feeling creative. It's really likely that this activity will lead to you finding more pockets of time because you'll feel motivated, you'll feel inspired. We need to be doing to start that happening. Scheduling is a total game changer. And I know it sounds really boring, but if you can look at your calendar and you can pencil things in, then it will hold you accountable and you have made time, carved out time for these things to happen. This month, I have been so much more organized with my portfolio reviews because I've been using a scheduling program called Acuity, and it has given me so much more time to focus on the service I'm providing and not get super bogged down in all of the admin side of things. I have made Thursdays my review days. So I know every Thursday, 9 a.m., I am in portfolio review mode, and it's allowing me to scaffold the rest of my week so well.
If you want to take your passion project, side hustle, or career to the next level, then Acuity Scheduling is an easy online booking tool that offers a full suite of features to make you look professional and make it easy to manage clients and customers. Picture this: you are back and forth via email with a potential client about a photography gig, trying to figure out a time to suit you both. With Acuity Scheduling, you can simply send a link directly to your booking page and have them see your available times. You can block off when you are busy and add handy things like an intake form that allow you to gather the information you need from clients. Change the fonts and colors too, so it's all on brand, and make yourself look like the professional you are. You can easily receive payments too, and Acuity links up with all the popular payment types like PayPal, Stripe, and Square. It's all in one and integrates beautifully with my Squarespace website. If you want to get serious about your services and not lose time on the admin side, I would highly recommend using Acuity Scheduling as your tool to support your busy life as a creative service provider. If you want to learn more or give it a go for yourself, you can head to acuityscheduling.com/Lucy Lumen for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use the code LucyLumen20 to save 20% off your first Acuity Scheduling subscription. Links for everything are in the description and pinned to the comments.
Third strategy I want to talk about is called opportunity seizing. So all of the tips that I'm offering here work as a system together. And this one, opportunity seizing, stops you from saying, I'm too busy to do X thing, or I don't have enough time. So far we have had conversations with the people around us and advocated for our creativity. We have looked at our schedule and we have popped in some pockets of time. however big or small, that we're going to practice these things. But we all know how awry that can go, especially when you have children, you're busy working, you might get sick, and then all your plans get kind of thrown off. So whilst you might have had some good months and some wins here and there where you did get to stick to your schedule, it's also really important to kind of back that up with opportunity seizing. This will really help you to maximize the amount of time that you have in your life for the things that really matter to you. How often do you sit there with a few spare minutes and simply just scroll on your phone? In the evenings, are you just couch potatoing? Are you just watching trash TV? Okay, we all need that sometimes. I do that as well. But if that is your regular, usual state of being, where you fill up your time with scrolling on your phone, watching trash TV, all these things, you need an overhaul. These are times where you can still be relaxing, but you can be feeding yourself things that inspire you and motivate you to be creative. This could be listening to music, watching movies. You could be planning for your next fun photo shoot, sequencing images, or just doing something that actually feeds you and isn't just making you go into this zone where you're not even really thinking about life. You're just trying to escape, only to wake up the next day, go to your 9-to-5 that you don't like, and then complain that you don't have time to do the things that you love. So how can we better opportunity seize and get in the habit of doing that? Well, when you're a parent, you're often in situations where you are waiting around, or you're stuck because your child has fallen asleep on you or in the car, or you're standing around waiting for them to do something, waiting for them to fall asleep. There's so many pockets of time where you are busy with them, but you could be also kind of half doing something that you enjoy as well. So rather than scrolling on your phone, is there a book about creativity that you could be reading that's going to really light you up and make you feel fired up to go out and take photos? In a more practical sense of actually getting out and taking photos, because that can be quite a tricky hobby to fit in when you are very busy, especially when you are a parent, is always having a camera on you, which is something that we talk about a lot, but some of us maybe don't do, or we take it with us, but we don't actually take photos because we're waiting for these perfect moments to appear. I think it's really good to just pull your camera out and just get in the habit of just taking photos and making do with what's around you. The fourth strategy I want to talk about is what I call closing the loop. So even when we do all of the things that we have talked about in this video and we are just really killing it as creatives, we can all of a sudden run into problems that really railroad us. These problems can often be brought on by ourselves. As creatives, we can tend to overthink, we can procrastinate, and we can be quite sensitive people. And all of these emotions can lead to getting in our head and just lead to a whole lot of inaction, which is not the thing that you want when you are trying to be creative. So in order to complete this method that I'm sharing with you here today of how to find more time for your creativity, you really need this fourth step of closing the loop. What I mean by this is basically outputting your work to close the creative loop. So you need to finish what you've started. And I think that that is something that we all struggle with. Of course, there are projects that are going to take a long time or they are ongoing, and that is fine. There are exceptions to this, but so many of us are hanging on to projects, to ideas, to bodies of work that are just begging to be let out into the world. It is not constructive for our creativity to be hanging on to things and laboring over them for too long. A way to do this is to give yourself some parameters, some constraints, some goals. Going back to my earlier point about starting a YouTube channel and that really helping me to overcome something like postnatal depression, I think that having a project like that to feed stuff into just really helps you to close the loop and then get going on the next thing. And it helps you with motivation. It helps you with scheduling because now you have this thing that you output to. Before I had my YouTube channel, I really wasn't taking many photos and I didn't see the value in going out and doing it because I just wasn't in the best mental headspace. And I thought, well, what's the point? Who's going to care? Where will it go? I'm a busy mom. I weren't just going out and frivolously taking photos. When I had the YouTube channel, I then had a place for it all to go. And it felt like it had a purpose, even just for me, because I enjoyed making the videos and putting them out. regardless of how well they did or who saw them. It just simply gave my work a place to live. And then I found out that I had all of these other things that I wanted to share with the world that are adjacent to photography or related to it. I very quickly felt invigorated creatively, and this just helped me to keep going. 4 years later, I'm still here. I am regularly photographing all the time and staying super creative. So for you, this could look like submitting your work, going through various different platforms, websites, looking for open calls, marking them all on your calendar, and then coming up with a little plan of how you're going to submit to each of them. It could be finally finishing your zine or starting it. Set yourself some parameters when you're scheduling and work out times and dates. Have a deadline for it and then work to it. This closing the loop process does not have to be monetized, and it doesn't have to be something that you are shouting from the rooftops online either. It could simply just be for you. You might decide that you're going to print 4 of your photos a month and you're just looking at them. Maybe you're showing your family and friends. That's fine. You just need to have an end point so that it can cycle through and then you can start again. We all need a timeline and a structure for things. This is because our society is laid out this way normally, and we start living this way when we go to school and then we go to work, and we seem to be able to fit into all of these boxes that society wants us to, but then we don't really apply those things to creativity. And that always interests me, that we see it as this loose thing that just happens, but we need structure, we need deadlines, you need goals, and you need a roadmap of how you're going to get to the other end, just the same way you would if you were studying medicine or doing something that is a lot more technical. This 4-step method will 100% help you to realize a body of work, whether that is big or small, or just taking a few of these from today's video and implementing them in your life will help you to have more time for creativity, but it will also help you to finish a project or realize something into the world that you have been sitting on for a long time. And when you do that, you will likely want to do it again. And then you'll just compound on that habit. And it is so powerful. I hope this video was exactly what you needed to kick yourself into gear to find more time for creativity. I really hope it was helpful, especially to all of my fellow parents out there. It can be really hard to find time and put yourself first occasionally. So let me know below if you have any systems, processes, books you've read, any resources, or some system that you follow in order to get these things happening. Let me know below. I would love to hear. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.